G'day everyone. In this video I'm going to be providing a very long overdue carnivorous plants update. Sorry for the length of time since my last video. I've been extremely busy with my plants and doing jobs around the house, including our new concrete pathway over here. In this video I'm going to be dividing it into two parts. First off, I'm going to start off with my carnivorous plants pond over there. There's been so much exciting and unexpected things happening there. I can't wait to show you. In the second part, I'm going to be providing a carnivorous plants update as well. Now, before I start, I just want to say just how turbulent it's been this year with this new Omicron variant coming out. Just when you thought everything was going to be okay, out come out these new restrictions again and potential lockdowns. And I tell you what, our gardens now are more important than ever. One thing I did read about the other day is that gardening can alleviate feelings of loneliness. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there which are feeling it right now, or feeling lonely, being divided from their loved ones. Hopefully your garden is giving you that peace and solitude that we all need right now. My name is Jerry from Succulent Flytraps. Alright, so let's have a look at that beautiful pond over there. This is our lovely concrete pathway I was talking about earlier. Took a couple of days to get this done, but I tell you what, it really has been worth it. So much easier now to walk along here without getting muddied feet whenever it rains, and it has been raining a fair bit here in Sydney, Australia at least, with this La Nina. And here we have the plants. I'm just going to show you now. Look at that, look at all the colour over there. Alright, I'm going to start off here with this Porcupine Stone planter. Oh, before I do, have a look at this. This is something that I wasn't expecting. Look at that. See that down there? That to me looks like a water spider. I think it is. I did a bit of research on that the other day. See how he's just hanging there on the edge of the pond there. I've got that felt pond liner. Well, not pond liner, it's just a felt material there, which I added to help insects get out of the water. Well, this spider here is just hanging on with a couple of legs, and the rest of his legs are on top of the water surface. You can see those dimples around the tips of his legs. That's because he's got special hairs there on his legs, and they're very, very sensitive to vibrations under the water. So I think what he's doing is he's waiting for prey to turn up, and then he's going to go and gobble it up. Now, there are mosquito larvae in this pond over here. He's probably using that one. There's probably one over there, right there in the middle. So he'll be probably eating them as a snack. But yeah, that's exciting to see. Wasn't expecting that, and I sort of often wonder, how did this water spider make its way to my pond over here? Yeah, exciting to see. Anyway, let's get back to the plants. So this is the Porcupine Stone planter, and the Venus flytrap in there is really coming up nicely. You can see a lot of these traps are sealed up, indicating that they're catching prey. It's always good to see that, because insects of all types provide the vital nitrogen that these plants require. And looking very, very healthy. And of course, around the base there you can see the tropical sundews and sphagnum moss over there, and the other moss around it. It's all coming together nicely. Alright, moving over here, this was my miniature carnivorous plants garden in a tray. You can see the outline of that circular tray over there. I just placed that into this pond, and the plants are looking really, really healthy. Look at all these tropical sundews over here. See how they're very green? That indicates that they're getting plenty of food. You do see a lot of insects getting trapped in the leaves. Some are more obvious than others. There's been flowering a lot. You can see that one over there, it's got something in its leaf. Not sure what it is. A lot of the times they're just small flies. But yeah, they're feeding happily over here, and that's why they're so green and they're quite large, these plants. And as a result, a lot of them have been flowering. You can see those flower stalks have been cut off. I cut them off, those flower stalks. I didn't want them to spread their seeds too much. There's enough here as there are. The reason is because I've got another species of sundew here. This is Drosera spatulata. You can see them in this other rock planter over here, and they're actually flowering themselves. So I want them to spread their seeds around the base of that planter. See the space around there where the sphagnum moss is? I want that to happen rather than these tropical sundews becoming too dominant, and that's what you can do in the miniature gardens. Just if you see too many seeds being produced, just cut them off, and that will control the plant's numbers, preventing those plants from sprouting. Of course, I've got this big mouth Venus flytrap. I started off with 2 of them, and I've taken a fair few out because they were getting a bit crowded in there. Of course, it's coming up very nicely here. Look at those beautiful red traps. What surprised me is I saw this moth over here. Look at that. So that moth has gone in there, and that trap has caught it, and it's actually digesting that moth as well. I'm not sure whether that moth is still alive, but you can see how that trap is sealed up. And I think it is alive. There you go. It just moved its antenna. And that's what I love about these carnivorous plants. There's always something exciting to see. Just don't know quite what they're gonna catch. Over here I've got my Drosera binata. There's plenty of things being caught in these leaves. A lot of the times they're small flies, but you do see mosquitoes being caught as well. And a lot of them just get trapped on those sticky leaves. Those leaves don't sort of curl around it like South African sundews do, but just the sheer number of insects, you do see them all around over these sticky leaves. Of course, these plants are right next to the water, so as soon as those mosquitoes hatch, a lot of the times they will end up landing on these sticky leaves, providing plenty of vital nutrients for the plant. That's what it looks like from a distance. And here's another plant over here. That just started off as a small, it was just a small plant which I just put into the tops. Just made a bit of a way through the sphagnum moss, and I just put that in. I don't even think the roots are in the peat moss below, but look how that plant's come up. So the sphagnum moss around the roots has been enough to sustain this plant, and that plant's coming up nicely. It's caught a few things as well. And another amazing thing which has caught my eye are these beautiful sundew seedlings. They look like tropical sundews, and it looks like a couple of seeds have fallen on this felt material on the edge of this pond, and come up these plants. It's just unbelievable that they've been able to come up like this, because there's no actual peat moss under these felt this felt lining. So this indicates to me that it's just the water is sort of more important in its early stages of growth, these seedlings, rather than the peat moss. And I can't wait to see just how well they grow later on. Hopefully they'll get bigger and bigger, and they'll be catching their fair share of ants, which are scurrying around the edge of this pond. Where is it? Somewhere down there, anyway. But you do see a lot of ants around here, and yeah, it's great to see all this sort of taking shape and yeah, sort of happening all naturally. So let's get to the North American pitcher plants. So you can see a lot of these pitchers here. These are the newer ones. You can tell because they're more brightly coloured. A lot of the times they're actually a little bit smaller than the ones that were produced in early spring. Most of these carnivorous plants are Sarracenia flava species. Sarracenia flava typically produce their biggest pitchers in early spring. They're these older ones over here. And as the season progresses, you get pitchers, but they're not as large. But they're just, in fact, they're more brightly coloured, these later season pitchers, than the early ones. And I think that's because of the insects that have been caught in the season. That gives them more sort of nitrogen, and that in turn is reflected in the colour of the pitchers. Now, around the base over here, you can see all these tropical sundews. Have a look at that. Really lapping up the sunshine there. You can see all these flower stalks over here. So yeah, they're really looking healthy and happy around the base. Just want to point out this one over here. This is a Sarracenia flava maxima. I've sold a few of these already. I don't have too many left, but I just love the lack of variegation. There's no veins in that hood, but you got that gorgeous bronze coloured hood, oversized hood, and it's sort of green coloured pitcher. And I often see ants around these pitchers, although today I don't see too many of them. I'd like to think a lot of them have been caught, because I do see a lot of them. You see the silhouette around the base of these pitchers. So here you see a group of ants congregating together on the walls of this pitcher. So this pitcher here is on a bit of an angle, which allows the ants to crawl a little bit higher than normal. Every now and again you'll see an ant crawling away from the group as it crawls higher on the walls of the pitcher, but of course as it gets higher it becomes more slipperier, which causes the ant to fall back down into the depths of the pitcher. So I'm just going to do a flyover over here. More colour, more pictures of course. Have a look at this lime green one over here with the red around the base. That's a Rugelii, Sarracenia flava again. They produce their biggest pitchers in spring. Here's another one over here, looking absolutely spectacular. And look at all these tropical sundews down here, everywhere. They're really loving this sunshine over here and cold water in this pond. More tropical sundews, and over here of course are the Drosera banata tea form. It's the T shape in its leaves. That's the one that was in the tray miniature garden earlier. I love seeing the banata growing here over the edge, because they're the ones that are going to be trapping these mosquitoes as they're flying out of the water. So you can probably see the mosquitoes trapped there. So I'm going to try and transport a few more of these Banata T-form plants around here, around the edge of the pond. Just a really good way of controlling these mosquitoes. You've noticed here that I've placed these leaves over here. These are from this gorgeous guava tree over here, which my wife planted a couple of years ago. It's producing a lot of fruit. And it also sheds its leaves. A lot of those leaves end up falling into the pond. I did notice around this side of the pond there was a fair bit of algae growing. Now algae, it's just characterised by this green growth over here. We did have a lot of rain here one time, and there was so much rain that water from the lawn overflowed into that pond. And it was amazing. As soon as that happened, the algae just started coming up and growing. And I think it was because of the nutrients that flowed from the soil into the pond. That's what kick-started the growth of the algae. It's under control now because I spotted it and I've taken it out manually, but as a way of controlling that algae as well, I've placed these leaves over the algae because I know that algae loves sun. So by putting those leaves on top, it blocks the sun, and it sort of prevents an algal bloom so much. It's still going to grow in there, but it sort of helps reduce the algae a bit. Let's have a look at that water spider still there. There he is. Have a look. Have a look at that. What a predator, just waiting there with his feet on the water surface. Amazing. Here we've got a flower stalk from the Banata. So they're going to produce seeds, and of course they're going to be providing plants here around the edge of the pond, which is what I want to control those mosquitoes. So that's what's been happening in my backyard pond. Also, around about 2 weeks ago, something very special happened, and something that completely took me by surprise. As I came home from work late at night, I opened the door and I heard the sound of knocking wood. It was a constant knocking sound, like somebody was knocking on wood. So the sound seemed to be coming here from my backyard, so I came outside and I walked towards my backyard pond. As I did, it confirmed to me that it was in fact coming from the pond there. I took out my Frog ID app on my mobile phone, and after recording the sound, it came back as a match, the striped marsh frog. So as you can imagine, I was ecstatic to hear the sound of a frog in that pond there. So this is what the frog looks like, and this is what it sounds like. So right from the start, when I was designing this pond, I always had in the back of my mind that, hey, one day, hopefully, that a frog would visit this pond. I was never going to go out and actually harvest tadpoles from somewhere else and transport them to my backyard here. As far as I know, it's illegal here in New South Wales, Australia anyway. And so it was always going to be a waiting game. And after confirming the sound and through the Frog ID app, my patience has finally paid off, and I'm so over the moon with it. Also, something I found the other day, which again has completely taken me by surprise, and I can't wait to show you what it is. All right, so let's have a look here. It's going to come over here. Okay. You can see all the leaf litter down here. Now I'm going to carefully bring the phone over here. Ah, that's what I wanted to see. Have a look at this. See that foam down there? What appears to look like foam. If you look carefully, you can see these black spots in there. As far as I know, these are eggs laid by the frogs, female frogs. There must be a female frog in here, because as far as I know, the male frog is the only one that croaks. But I'm completely blown away by this. Have a look at that. So I noticed these around about 2 days ago. So now it's just a matter of time before the tadpoles start to hatch. And I tell you what, there's going to be fireworks in terms of sound coming from this pond. I love the fact that this pond over here is creating its own little mini ecosystem. You have the carnivorous plants, of course, growing nicely around the edge of the pond. They're catching their fair share of insects, whether it be mosquitoes hatching out of the water, small flies and terrestrial insects such as ants. You have the seeds from those carnivorous plants sprouting on the edge of the pond through that damp felt material. You then have the water spider, which I suspect is feeding on the mosquito larvae. You also have the mosquitoes, as they're coming out of the water, being caught on the leaves of the sundews. Now, of course, you have the frogs in there, and now with those frog eggs, those eggs, of course, will turn into tadpoles. Those tadpoles will feed on the algae, which I know is growing in the pond, and those tadpoles in turn will be prey for that water spider. And I can't wait to see the water spider actually feeding on those tadpoles. So it's all happening. As I said, it's that little mini ecosystem working, and it's naturalising the pond, which is what I love to see. So till next time, everyone, happy growing. In the next couple of days, I'll be providing a carnivorous plants nursery update. I hope you're having fun with your garden at home, and if you have a little backyard pond, hopefully you're enjoying as much as what I am. Till next time, happy growing.